Hello and welcome to another Wednesday Night Magic here on Speed Gaming 2. Tonight, I, Clifford, will be joined by Skybills as we watch some awesome standard matches. Sky, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Clifford. Been seeing a lot being done to the meta lately, so I'm interested to see what these players are going to bring into the standard ring this evening.
I also am excited to see what we're gonna. Or Roguelink, who has been, on the commentary side for the last few weeks, is getting his hands dirty and is gonna face off against Seawolf to get us started. So let's hit a couple of buttons.
I like the phrasing you used when you said "get his hands dirty."
I mean, is that not? It's gonna, whenever these two get together, it's always a slobber knocker, drag out, just fight to the death, and then they do it again, and sometimes a third time, depending on how many games it takes. It's always fun times to watch, and I just like, it's a bloodbath to get in the middle of it, just sacrificing creatures and flying angel dudes going at it. It's always scary times.
I foresee an aggro versus control matchup personally, but let's see if Roguelink on the aggressive side will prove me wrong.
All right, well, let me set them to go. And now we play the waiting game.
Ooh, I guess I'm being proven wrong here. Seawolf looks like is going to be going with Vamps. That is a lovely aggro mid deck that I am a big fan of. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for Jund Dinos, that is actually the deck I would be using.
That Knight of the Ebon Legion is such a great card.
Oh yeah, it's one of the best turn ones in Standard right now, if not the best. The only one that even rivals that, to my current knowledge, is Llanowar Elf.
Yeah, those are easily the two best one drops in the format. There's something I really, really like about going Knight into Dreadhorde Butcher, because everybody knows how much I love Dreadhorde Butcher.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's
Speaking
one
of
my
things,
favorite plays. And then Judith, or on the other hand, Tajik. Either one.
well, I was thinking, have you seen that new Rakdos stack that's been going around, Clifford?
I have not.
There is a Rakdos deck going around. I haven't seen the MPL or anyone of that sort use it, but I've seen it on the ladder lately, where it uses Knight of the Ebon Legion turn 1, followed by Dreadhorde Butcher, followed by Judith or the Priest. Like, it's a really good, solid Rakdos deck that isn't seeing a lot of play. Speaking of which, here we go.
And it looks like Roguelink has won the coin toss.
Ooh. Oh, this shuffler doesn't know the meaning of lands today. The shuffler has been acting unusual today.
Gonna keep 5. Has a vampire and then a coat of arms, but that's not what that really is.
Ooh, it look. I'm excited, Clifford. Look at Seawolf's hand. You know what this is?
Ooh, yeah, it is. Look at all those dinosaurs.
It's so beautiful. Oh, and look at this start for Roguelink. The mull to 5 is paying off as Roguelink has the Bloodthirsty Aerialist, Icon of Ancestry, and even a Sorin to boot should that 4th land be drawn. Clifford, what a turnaround so far for Roguelink.
And there it is.
You know, I'm not supposed to show bias, but I have an affinity for what Seawolf's playing right now, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you do. You have an affinity for both of these decks. Come on now.
That is true. These are my two decks going at it, and I'm just so happy to see these two go into action. Let's see what happens. I think Roguelink lets it hit Soren. Yeah, board state's a little more important. So there were one of two options there, and now it's even more viable. So we have the double Soren combo. So here's what happens here. One Soren can sacrifice the Conquistador, probably post-combat, so that attack can get in. And then Soren could actually bring it back. That would be if Roguelink wanted to get rid of the Raptor, which I always feel like it's a good idea to go for the Raptor, but we'll see. There are indeed some consequences to letting that Raptor live, because now look at the mana cost of everything in Seawolf's hand. No, that's not a glitch you're seeing. Dinosaurs become one less to cast, and every time you cast a dinosaur, the Raptor does damage to it, but when it comes to cards within range, such as our friend Ripjaw Raptor, it can lead to card advantage as well.
Oh, definitely. It's just a factory of draw cards right there between the Raptor and the other Raptor.
Now this is a really good draw for Roguelink here, because everything can be played, and I mean, if you give that Bloodthirsty Aerialist some lifelink there, it can get even stronger, so not a terrible situation. Roguelink saying, I don't care about your card advantage, I want to head for your life, and instead goes for the 4 damage. However, Seawolf didn't, or may have not cared about the Death Touch. So in addition to the lifelink, Soren, 3-drop Soren also gives Death Touch. But now Seawolf striking back now with the Rotting Regisaur.
The Rotting Regisaur, just huge.
Speaking of huge, I think there's something a little bigger than that just hit the field.
Oh, hi there, Galta.
Ooh, Thud being used for something other than the finish. Seawolf doing the right thing here, but I think it's going to be a little bit too late, as we see Roguelink has opened up the play to have Soren -3 to hit Seawolf directly here for game.
Yep, that will,
That was a closer game than it looked.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, as you can see, that whole match took a tumble the minute Roguelink decided to kind of go more on the offensive than the defensive. The defensive move there, being able to take advantage of 4-drop Soren's ability to bring back the Conquistador for the small price of 1, to use that Conquistador to sacrifice itself to destroy the Marauding Raptor. Because as you saw, Seawolf just poured out his entire hand onto the field because of Marauding Raptor. Seawolf was a little short on mana, and Seawolf needed that Raptor to live.
Yes, needed it, and could not keep up with all of the vampires, all of the Soren advantage, even with Roguelink going down to 5 cards.
Now, as we see here, take a look at Seawolf's hand here. Seawolf has opted to put in Flame Sweep. Very good against vampires, unless the Knight of the Ebon Legion gets too big. We'll see if that happens. And as a matter of fact, it will happen with the Legion Lieutenant here coming out this turn. So if Roguelink can pump that up just even a little bit more, he will be able to get it around the Flame Sweep. However, Seawolf is going to be waiting now here in the wings to play that Flame Sweep the minute this Soren hits the field. And there it is, and there's the board wipe. Roguelink was so close to being able to stabilize off of that, but just not quite yet. However, Sanctum Seeker happens. Not a bad turn, but Flame Sweep is rough against vampires.
Yeah, it really is. Just can come out and just destroy your day.
So
and all your creatures.
So, Clifford, here's another attack here I wanted to ask you about. What do you think of Vampire of the Dire Moon in this deck? I've been seeing it on and off here, What about the fact that you don't want to maybe invest too many one drops, because we've seen Conquistador, we've seen Vampire of the Dire Moon, we've seen Knight of the Ebon Legion. Do you feel like there's a certain point where these vampires just run too low to the ground and then you run into things such as Flame Sweep?
I find that happens in any deck where your critical mass is somewhere around 3 mana on the field. When you want to have 3 lands on the board, then sometimes you're just going to run into stuff like that. However, at the same time, the Knight of the Ebon Legion can just, you leave the 3 mana open and don't attack for the extra 3, and then he's just unkillable on the board for the whole forever.
Now, speaking of which, this is a perfect opportunity here. Roguelink has the ability to stabilize here. Roguelink doesn't know that that's nothing but a land in Seawolf's hand, but as soon as dinos run out of gas, they're very much out of gas, Clifford, and the only way for them to stabilize at that point is to get out the Raptor Ripjaw Raptor combo. And of course, Roguelink not taking a chance, putting the Marauding Raptor in prison. Roguelink now has full control of this game.
Yes, this game is all but over.
So now we go to game 3, and this is something we can talk about at some point, Clifford. Going first is just so valuable in this standard. It's almost impossible to come back.
I mean, but if Roguelink won both games, why would we need game 3?
That's very true.
Haha.
Haha.
GG to Roguelink.
That is actually an anomaly. Clifford, don't we usually see game 3s here on Wednesday Night Magic? Usually, like give or take?
Usually that's what happens. No, he didn't get 3 wins. He only needs 2. There we go. Now the thing looks correctly.
I don't want to know what a 3-0 win looks like, Clifford. That's great. Vampires there, though, very much having the upper hand. And remember that game 1, the game 1 in particular, came down to 1 turn. Because Roguelink was able to get Seawolf down to 3. Could have used Soren's ability there, but Seawolf was so close to being able to stabilize with the deck.
Yeah, it was very close. All right, so for game 2 tonight, we're going to have Uncle Drake versus Algernon. And there they are.
There they are.
Boom. We have things on the screen for you.
Well, I have no clue as to what to expect from either of these two people. I have seen Uncle Drake run everything from elementals to Izzet to tokens. I've seen Uncle Drake pretty much plays everything across the board. That's a terrific skill to have in Magic. I know a lot of people who will stick to either control, mid-range, or aggro, but I've seen Uncle Drake do it all, and it's pretty impressive.
Oh, looks like we're getting Simic Flash.
Oh, it's such a tough deck to go against it. I can totally understand why Uncle Drake would want to use Simic Flash. We'll see. Now, this is one where we do want to pay attention to who is going first here, Clifford, because if Simic Flash is on the play, it's very difficult right there and then to even come back from something.
Yes, I've played against it a couple of times, and it can just ruin your day.
You do know how to beat Simic Flash, though, right?
You never cast anything on your turn.
Well, I mean, that's part of it, but Ceratops is actually the weakness of the deck.
I guess Ceratops is a fun card. I was playing against a persistent petitioner's deck in the Singleton and turn 3'd it, and they just conceded. It was great.
And not just Ceratops, also Carnage Tyrant is also very difficult for this deck to face.
Well, look, wow. That's a lot of ambushing going on for Uncle Drake.
This shuffler is misbehaving tonight, Clifford.
Well, that's less ambushing, but less doing much of anything.
Oh my gosh. We've seen 3 lands in a 7 draw here. My goodness.
Uncle Drake not wanting to go to 4.
Mm-mm.
You know, I wouldn't either. And with the opt, it kind of helps. The opponent on 6 cards look like we're getting an elementals of some kind. Elementals versus kind of mono blue flash stuff.
Uncle Drake opting for the land. Now, what do you do here? Uncle Drake preparing for the Essence capture. It's a tough call, but it's absolutely the right one to make here. Yeah, I think you let that one go, sadly.
Yeah.
That's the one you don't. Yeah.
For the,
For the thing.
The overgrowth elemental is far more important to get out of there.
Now there's a card I haven't seen in a while. Unwind is in Uncle Drake's hand. But I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see yet another Essence capture here for Yarok. So this is an awkward board state, Clifford. Look at this. You have a murder in hand, a Paradise Druid, a healer, and then you just have a bunch of stuff that Uncle Drake can't play right now.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah. We're really gonna see Paradise Druid beat down here, aren't we?
We just did.
Oh my gosh. Here comes Brineborn Cutthroat. Normally, really great play here, but unfortunately, it's gonna be murdered outright.
Nah, we're not dealing with you today. Which is kind of unfortunate, because the Ambusher might be more murder-worthy.
Ooh, there's a card. Temple of Mystery. And at
All
this point,
the lands are coming together.
Uncle Drake wanting it on top of the deck. Why do you think Uncle Drake put that back on top of the deck, out of curiosity? I'm sure there's a method to it. But what is it about this situation where the land is warranted?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I mean, again, I'm not one to question the process. Certainly Uncle Drake has good reasonings for a lot of stuff, but I wonder. Alright, here comes the Ambusher.
Hello, Mr. Ambusher.
And just lands on one side and everything but lands at one point on the other. This is such an awkward match, considering I believe it was Uncle Drake who had to mulligan down to 5 to start.
Just showing the power of the Simic deck.
Yeah, Uncle Drake not messing around here. I think this is gonna do it unless there's some kind of wipe. Ooh, that is not a terrible card. Unfortunately, it's probably a little too late here, but that is a wonderful card to top deck normally.
Yeah, I mean, draw a couple of cards. Might somehow chain it into something else. I don't see how. Yeah, no, we're going to game 2.
Yeah, that was still a pair of good draws, just not enough life and too many creatures. Now, what do you side in against this kind of deal? Maybe negate? Maybe Ceratops? Ceratops is always a fantastic card if you're going against blue of any kind. Veil of Summer isn't terrible either. It's a good call.
Yeah, we're seeing the unwinds come out. Doesn't
Ceratops.
surprise me.
Yeah, my gut's telling me the Ceratops is the way to go. Which I believe, bar none, aside from maybe the occasional Cerulean Drake, I feel like Ceratops is the best protection card to come out of M20, with maybe the exception of God's Willing, but that's not a creature. So I believe Ceratops is the best creature with Pro to come out of M20. Very much changed the format. It gave it a little bit more of a bite against Esper, as Teferi can't bounce it anywhere. And again, I've been telling this story over and over. I'm convinced Ceratops was created because somebody at Wizards just got that mad at Teferi one day. So, gotta love Ceratops.
It's a wonderful card. Like I said, I was playing in Singleton and just the Persistent Petitioner's deck just insta-scooped.
Insta-scoop. That's a word that I feel like needs to exist. I like it. Alright, so here we go, game 2. Let's hope that we see more of a presence out of both the both challengers here, because I feel like the Shuffler almost determined what had happened last game. And
Yes,
here we go
we'll
again.
Find out. We have 5 lands compared with 2 lands.
And Uncle Drake is just like, you know what? I'm rolling with this. I don't want to see what happened last game to happen again. I can't say I blame Clifford.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him either. You have lands now. Now it doesn't matter what else. You can draw all the garbage cards in your deck as long as you have the lands to cast them. But nope. There's another land. Haha! Fooled you.
Yeah, that Syncopate's going to play a pretty big role this turn, as the Risen Reef's going to attempt to come out, and Uncle Drake's going to be like, nope, not dealing with that. That's too big a card advantage there. Risen Reef, probably one of the sleepers from the spoiler list of M20 at least, has now kind of defined the format. A lot of people are turning to Risen Reef as a possible solution should their favorite deck be destroyed or dethroned in Throne coming up, so a lot of people are really excited for that set.
There are fairies coming.
Oh yeah.
The fairies are coming.
No more Teferis, though. No more Teferis. We've seen enough of those.
I mean, what if Teferi was the king of the fairies? We know Una is the queen of the fairies, but probably not these fairies. Maybe, though.
Ooh, that Hinterland Harbor is one of the best cards Uncle Drake could have drawn here. Now there is an option between the Ambusher and the Frilled Mystic, and that's a really fantastic choice to have when you're playing Simic Flash.
Unfortunately, Algernon's stuck on just 3 forests, which makes it kind of hard to cast anything except the Krasis.
One of the strengths of the Simic Flash deck, and we'll see this after rotation as well, Clifford, is that Simic Flash only uses 2 colors. And while that seems like that would normally be a lot, when you're in a format where a lot of people are using 3 colors, we're seeing Sultai here from Algernon, 2 colors doesn't look so bad suddenly.
If you're not being greedy, what's the point? Come on.
Those mana bases without the check lands, though, are really going to make people think about what type of deck they want to make for sure.
All it took was people starting to actually play Assassin's Trophy for me to throw a couple of basic lands into my deck, because I was being too greedy. It was... Then I got just destroy target permanent. No risk of basics. It's a wild format out.
For 2 mana, nonetheless, too. I think we're going to be seeing Tamiyo, maybe. Unless Uncle Drake wants to counter it, which I'm sure Uncle Drake's going to counter anything at this point. Yeah, that's going to be a...
Yeah,
yeah, that's going to be a Frilled Mystic right there.
thanks for coming out. We'll see you in the graveyard, and that will do it.
Another 2-0 for Team Bottom. Team Bottom has just exploded tonight. GG to Uncle Drake, and unfortunately the shuffler wasn't kind to either player in game one, and then I should say moderately kind, because Uncle Drake was starting to accumulate too many lands there, and that could have been dangerous as well. So yeah, shuffler acting a little weird tonight for sure. So who's up next, Clifford?
All right, up next, we have a couple of new players. Although last week, Elven Cloud was on commentary with Rogueling. Rogueling? Yeah. No,
Yay.
Mike. Mike was on commentary last week. It's been a long week. All right, so 1 second. Let me get them set up.
So what are your favorite standard decks so far? And that's to anybody in the chat. There's been so much creativity lately, and again, I think just War of the Spark was that restrictive of a format, where it felt like all you could play was Mono Red or Esper to have a chance. I feel like the format has at least become a bit more versatile. And you couldn't tell that by looking at the last set of MPL decks, because it literally was Esper Control, Esper Hero, and Mono Red. I don't believe there was a single deck in the last MPL standings list where we saw something other than those 3 decks. And we're going to call them really 2 decks, because 2 of them were very Esper based.
I have really liked the dinosaurs, and also I've really liked the vampires. I've just really enjoyed the whole.
Yeah, you can't help but wonder what's going to happen to the 3-color decks such as Esper after the check lands rotate.
Sorry, I'm trying to move information around, and it's not agreeing with.
Oh, is there any way, Clifford, we can post the team instance feed, Discord, and chat?
I believe !MTGA will do it, but I know the bot has been broken lately, so it might not work.
If the bot is down, we can get that invite up in a second there. Alright, it looks like we're seeing some sort of match right now.
Something is happening with Elven Cloud and whoever Elven Cloud is playing.
It's Elven Cloud doing Elven Cloud things. I have no clue what Elven Cloud is playing, Seawolf. Just no clue here.
I heard it's spicy.
I've heard it's spicy as well. Last I saw Elven, he was at like 800 something, just got in a mythic the other night. Now we see he's at 200 something. Something's got to be going right with that deck. 4-color self-mill legendaries. Dang! That sounds like a deck you would enjoy, Seawolf. Alright, looks like Elvin's getting ready now. Hopefully Elvin sticks with that deck because, as chat was saying, that's looking wild.
All right. I believe we are now set up and ready. I think I've hit all the correct buttons. That we will have Magic as soon as they are ready to play it for us. So, Sky, did you see the big announcement today?
Yeah, I still have a lot of reading to do. Wizards did post a ton of literature about what's going to be happening with their tournaments going forward after much criticism towards the way this year has gone so far. We all got to remember, though, to keep things in perspective, and I try to remind players of this old and new all the time. Arena is still in a beta state, so all of this is still very experimental, besides, with the exception of what's been going on with the paper version of the game.
So, this is the point where in the business we call it a tease. If you come next week, we're going to be starting our usual Wednesday Night Magic show a little bit early, and we're not going to be playing as much Magic next week as we are going to be talking about Magic, specifically the announcement made today, and we're going to dig into all of that stuff and what the MPL and the Rivals League is going to look like. So if you want to have some questions for us, we're also going to answer questions from you, the viewer at home, our friends in the Discord. Be sure to check out the cool Wednesday Night Magic questions channel that will be existing in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And if you want to throw some questions up there for them, have them asked, we'll go through those next week and answer them here on the stream. And that should be a good old time.
I'm looking forward.
I am too. Like, I mean, you know, Skybills and Clifford, you get us in a room together and we can ramble about anything. Give us an actual topic to talk about. Oh, it's on.
You and I should become professionals at doing just that.
I mean, definitely good.
But yeah, we will be here to answer your questions next week. You know, you can talk about the topic. You could talk about things that you may have seen during the ladder. I mean, we'll do our best to answer whatever we can, but I'm definitely on the ladder every single day, so I might be able to answer from experience. And Clifford has been on the Magic scene as a whole way longer than I have. So Clifford can also answer some of those questions from way back when that I might not know anything about. So that's why Clifford and I work so well together.
Bring me your limited questions, bring her your standard questions, and it's all fine. And all right. Now we get to see how well a job I did on their hands. Well, that seems to not be very great.
Well, there's Elvin's hand. I'm giving Clifford a hard time because I can. This is a rough hand, though, for Esper. The mana base is a little shaky. Lazav can be played turn 2 to get that survivability, but Lazav won't be able to do much after that. Although I do see a Shalai. Shalai's good. Oh my. You're right, this is an Esper. It looks like... Is this 4-color?
It is 4-color.
Oh my goodness. That's right. We'll just name it What. Thank you, chat. Where would I be without all y'all? We'll call it What.
That's what the deck was named, I believe. That's what the deck's actual name is what.
Is What.
It ain't no country I ever heard of, but it looks like a pretty good Magic deck.
I love how we have 4 colors on Elven's side and 1 on the other side. This is fantastic. I can't help but smile at it. Now, you want to know what one of the best things about playing Lazav is against Mono Blue, Clifford?
What is that?
Well, if something gets countered, Elven can just turn Lazav in whatever creature just got countered.
That's very true.
Lazav is quite potent in this matchup. So next turn, probably going to be a Lookout counterspell combined with Merfolk Trickster, depending on what avenue the opponent... Is it Saisu? I want to make sure I get that correct.
I think so.
Okay, so whatever Saisu wants to do here... we have a second Curious Obsession, though, placed on this. Saisu is hoping to drop mana here at this point. And is there any mana? No! That opens the door for Othakaya if Elven wants to take that risk. There is a possible 3-for-1 exchange that's going to happen this turn. Wild. Sisu, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that, chat.
Yes, thank you. It is my fault for not asking before. I should do that with the first-time players every time.
All right, Elven taking the Othakaya, and wasn't really taking a chance there because there were no lands present there.
Just stuck on the 2 lands still. That's... Well, I open up, and a 3rd land appears.
Another obsession, though. Is that the 3rd obsession we've seen this game from Sisu's side?
It is.
All right.
Curious, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, Clifford. Probably going to see a counterspell here if I were to take a guess before the end of the turn.
I believe that is that's what happened.
Lookout's Dispersal, very, very, very good counter magic, especially towards the beginning of the game. Not so much when both players have way too many lands and what to do with.
And that obsession getting to work.
Ooh, that's a Tempest Jin. I'm interested to see what Sisu's gonna do here. Holding off on it. Very much have to respect that move. I've seen a lot of Mono Blue players tap out and very much regret it, so great play there by Sisu. Just kind of waiting on the Tempest Jin, making sure there's enough clearance to play it. So Alvin is probably thinking about either transforming the Lazav or playing... Trying to read that in blur. I think it's Kelthus, I think it's pronounced, but it's very, very, very tiny print right now. Ooh, Elven going for this is probably going to get unsummoned here. This is going to be a steep cost only for it to return back to the hand. Cut this, thank you. I can't see it. The font is so small and blurry on my screen.
Such is life. I recommend Hooked on Phonics.
Oh, goodness.
Only one person would get that joke, and I don't think they're here.
I get it.
All right, so we're seeing Sisu taking the advantage a little bit, leaving up the counterspell mana and the Merfolk Trickster mana.
I mean, what do you even try to do here? You have to assume your opponent's keeping up counter magic at this point. I mean, Sisu has a lot of control over this game, no pun intended. Double Jin's about to happen. That is a really good play by Elven Cloud, though. Elven Cloud going with the Teshar, so Lazav can be played right after that. However, the minute Lazav tries to activate its ability, Sisu can activate Merfolk Trickster.
That's also a thing that can happen.
And both can happen in the same turn, so we're probably going to see a Jin 2 mana held up for Trickster here.
That's 8 coming into the air also.
Mm-hmm. Plus a card draw here for Sisu. And it's a dive down. If you're going to pick a card to get on a draw like that, that's pretty good.
Yep. Now, barring, a top deck Kaya's Wrath. I don't even know if Kaya's Wrath is in this deck, but...
There's another janky type card. When was the last time you've seen the Diligent Excavator?
Let's see. I think never. Wait, maybe once in limited.
How about never, suggests the chat. I like it.
And thus Sisu claims one back for Team Top.
But look at Elvin's side deck here. Cry of the Carnarium. Spicy one for this match, as is Sorin as well.
Oh, yes.
Veil of Summer is really good because things can't be countered for the rest of the turn. Elvin is ready for this matchup.
Legion's End. What a card that is.
Oh yeah. It's a shame it's not mana cost 3, unfortunately, so it won't work. It won't work on some of the higher 3 drops. Not like Mono Blue runs many of them, but still, there's still Tempest Jin. Tempest Jin is the powerhouse of Mono Blue. It's the finisher, and you can't get rid of it with Legion's End. So, is that a Teferi I spot in Elvin's hand? I may or may not be judging Elven Cloud right now. Teferi is going to be a big one, though, going against anything with Curious Obsession in it. Alright, here we go again. Here's the Diligent Excavator, Clifford.
And in response, we're seeing the Spectral Soldier coming out.
So that's odd. Elvin chose not to play the Mox Amber there for 0.
Saving it for perhaps later when some other historical impact is.
Alright. Elvin's got a... Well, actually, Mox Amber has to have some sort of target, doesn't it, for historic spells, for instance?
I mean, it taps for whatever mana you have a legendary creature or planeswalker.
Yeah, so Mox Amber doesn't do much right now. The only catch is if Elvin play Mox Amber right now, you have a pretty good chance of it not being countered. I think that's where I was going at it with last turn, for example. You need a legendary critter or walker to play. Okay, that makes sense. Again, we don't see Mox Amber played too often either. There's a lot of cards here on Wednesday Night Magic. You don't get a chance to see them as much.
And
Now counter
now we
magic's
can
up.
cast things.
Well, in theory.
Theoretically. I mean, you know, you cast something, your opponent casts something back. It's interaction. You're actually playing the game between the two of you.
So here's the thing. If Elven Cloud tries to use Othakaya on either of Sisu's creatures, it's just going to get dived down. Oh, Sisu going for the Lookout's Dispersal instead.
Wants to be able to attack planeswalkers if need be.
I see. I didn't even know. I mean, I know the mana for exists, Clifford, but the idea of a 4-color deck existing in this format is still wild.
I was playing 5-color for months. It's if you're not being greedy, you're not trying. Can't tell you the number of games I lost putting the Gift of Paradise on the wrong land.
I was gonna say, how did that work out for you?
It was fine. It worked fine. I don't know. I'm not a big constructed player. I'd much rather draft, so I don't play a lot of constructed.
We have the Tempest Jin here. No counter magic. Of course, Alvin doesn't know that, but no counter magic now. Could go for Teferi. Could go for Tamio. Teferi
There are
would
lots
delay.
of plays here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a Teferi still eats a dive down for trying to return something to hand.
Yes. Also, due to the Diligent Excavator's ability, Alvin just went through a land pocket, which is really nice right now.
That is really nice.
Sisu playing the dive down in advance. I guess you go for the Spectral Sailor now, right?
Oh, right. Well, I guess you have to because the Teferi.
Oh,
makes it so you
yeah.
can. That would make sense. I still am not used to these planeswalkers having enchantments attacked onto them. Onto them. It is an attack. The planeswalkers are attacking enchantments.
All right, can Mox Amber for another excavator here.
Yep. Free excavator trigger.
It's so funny looking at a 4/7 Tempest Jin. That's just weird. But Dive Down does that. The thing is, if Alvin doesn't stop Tempest Jin next turn, Alvin just loses. I mean, a 5/4 in the air, I mean, it's a 2-turn clock right now, 1-turn clock now for Alvin in this case.
To 3 life.
And
Facing
Storm
down
Tamer.
a grip.
Teshar delays it by a turn. However, Essence Capture is in Sisu's hand.
And Lazov is going to also suffer a fate to be captured. or not. The veil of summer appears.
However, is it too late for Elvin?
It might be too little too late.
Yeah, there's not much in here for Lazov to copy right now.
And so with that, Elven Cloud reaching for the concede.
Now Team Top takes 1-2-0. No game 3s yet tonight.
And that is one for Team Top.
Gotta give Elvin Cloud credit for what he was trying to do. Anything that's 4-color is very difficult in this format. Even with all the mana that's up there, just with the amount of fast decks out there, it'd be very tough to set up something on 4 different colored mana.
All right, so I believe we have time for one more game. We're going to get Rogue Link and Uncle Drake back in here and let them fight each other really quickly because you know how they are.
Oh yeah.
And then it'll be what Zelda 1 randomizer time? Is that what's coming up, Sky?
Oh,
Is that
definitely.
what you got going on?
Yes, testing out a new, different kind of Zelda 1 randomizer.
Ooh. What kind?
Something that does something very odd to the overworld, as far as I can tell.
That's exciting. You should go check out Sky after this to see the cool new overworld stuff. I know I'm going to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I still can't even process all the changes that are going to be made for that.
Right, it appears they are ready. I've given them the okay. So now we wait.
Alright, so it looks like Uncle Drake is using Boros tokens. You know what, Clifford? I think I do know what you were getting at earlier.
So, here we are. Final game of the night. We have 2 Krinkos and no way to cast them.
Oh no.
And then Drakes. There are Drakes. Uncle Drake with the Drakes. I guess they might be Phoenixes and Elementals, but not Drakes. We'll find out.
I don't know what this shuffler is trying to do to our players tonight, but it's not very nice.
It's testing their wills.
That's one way of putting it. Uncle Drake's hand, though, looks really cool.
Yeah, it does. I like hasty flying elementals. They're always fun to deal with. I'm a little surprised at the second Grim Initiate, instead of discarding it to draw some cards and get back some of the lost tempo. Infuriate.
That's
It's one
another
of-
card. Have you seen more Infuriates lately, Clifford?
I've been playing Infuriate lately.
In what type of deck?
It's a Mardu, my Mardu face melter deck. Then it runs Infuriate and Sure Strike and the other pump spell in game 1 along with Feather, and then it boards all that stuff out for your generic kill spells, and then your opponent unmoored egos your Feather in game 2 and you laugh at them. That happened to me today. It was wonderful.
There's still one card that I feel like our class is Infuriate, and that's Collision Colossus, just because it's such a versatile card.
The problem is you need the green for the Colossus side. I agree. It's a really good. I was playing it for a while. It's just the extra color like makes it hard to just splash in a deck that's already 3 other colors.
Oh, that's definitely fair. Wait, is that a third Stormkin I see for Uncle Drake here? My goodness.
I mean, you thought the Sky Knight Legionnaires were powerful. Haha.
Here comes Sky Knight Vanguard.
Sky Knight Vanguard, another powerful card. Poor Rogue Link with missing the second white source to be able to cast the War Leader.
This was a very quick game here. Uncle Drake can close this out with an Arclight Phoenix.
Yep, all it takes is the hard cast Arclight Phoenix, and that will be game 1.
That was a very fast and very efficient deck from Uncle Drake. I would be interested to see the deck list from Uncle Drake's deck.
Yeah, also interested. We see Fries and
I mean, that tells a story in itself, doesn't it?
what else do we
Someone,
need?
well, someone doesn't like Lyra and Teferi, that's for sure.
So as we get ready for game 2, Sky, what has been your favorite deck you've seen tonight? What stood out to you the most tonight?
I would definitely say this Drake deck in particular that we're seeing from Uncle Drake is really good. I also very much liked Rogue Link's take on vampires. How about you?
I like the dinosaurs against the vampires. That was fun. I liked to see I liked the idea of what Elven Cloud was doing. I'm sorry it didn't get quite going in either of the games.
All right,
But
here we
we'll
go.
see. All right, inward, onward.
Again, the shuffler just not having it. This is probably the best hand Rogue Link has seen all night.
The true winner of Wednesday Night Magic tonight, the Shuffler for Arena.
Shuffler is brutal tonight.
We're going to deciding that War Leader a little more important than an inferior.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, it just wants to hang out with everybody for more. That's why it gives you bad hands, because it loves you and wants to hang out with you. Spend more time with your cards. And we're seeing poor Uncle Drake stuck on one land. Had a beautiful hand. could only draw that second land. Unfortunately, that is not the case. And pitching the Lava Coil, which is going to be sad days for that war leader coming in.
But there's still a Fry in Uncle Drake's hand right now.
There is still a Fry. Unfortunately, still no second land. I'm really surprised we're not seeing the Radical Idea getting pitched by Uncle Drake here, since it's just a free discard.
Yeah, what is up with the... I mean, I realize Uncle Drake probably took a chance with our hand, but what is up with the shuffler on Uncle Drake's side? Just no lands.
It doesn't appear that matters what the card was discarded, because we're not going to see a second land to cast it. We're getting ready for Game 3 in our final match of the Wednesday night Magic Standard game.
I have feelings about these last couple of games, Clifford. Yeah, let's see a good Game 3. I agree.
Yes. We want a good Game 3.
This isn't bad to start. Roguelink's hand looks a little lackluster. Maybe with one more land, the ability to play the Leonin Ward Leader may seem good, but Uncle Drake has a very defensive and good hand to start the game.
Yes, lots of damage to kill off those smaller creatures. The Fry will be able to take out the War Leader. Same with the Lava Coil. They both enough damage to get rid of a War Leader forever.
What is Roguelink doing right now?
Bluffing Infuriate. With no red mana up. You know, like you do.
Yeah, I don't think that Leonin Ward Leader is going to see the light of day in this battle.
And there goes a Lava Coil to take out a Grim Initiate without triggering the Amass. Without death, there is no Amass.
Tormenting Voice, a very good card right now.
Pitching the Devout Decree, a hard kill spell.
The second sentry there wasn't bad, as long as Roguelink can get City's Blessing.
Yep, sitting at 4 right now, would have to get the War Leader to stick around. That remains to be seen. With a Fry and a Lava Coil, I doubt it. I doubt it'll be hanging around, but we'll find out.
I think we're gonna see it.
Had Roguelink waited a turn, he could have played the War Leader with an Infuriate backup. Not that he would have known that, but it could have happened. It could have stuck around. At least force the shock out on top of the other spell, right?
And just lands for Roguelink.
Lands upon lands, but he's fine with drawing the lands because it's one step closer to the blessing and activating these sentries. Meanwhile, we have a Drake. Uncle Drake has found a Drake. It's a 7 power Drake, too.
Here's another great card that's not rotating, Clifford. Crackling Drake.
I'm so excited to see what the format looks like with the new... I can't wait for the rotation. I enjoy the format a lot right now, but I always like to see shakeups, and especially the fall shakeup.
I think a lot of people are over mono red, are over Esper for one.
Those decks will always exist in some form.
Well,
But,
mono
yeah, I
red certainly
understand.
can. Mono red sticks around with Steamkin and Experimental Frenzy, and Esper stays around with Thought Erasure, Teferi, and Kaya's Wrath.
Alright, so 7 across the air. That hurts. But Uncle Drake still in this. Or Uncle Drake. Roguelink is still in this. Uncle Drake has the commanding position now with a second nephew Drake.
Nephew Drake.
Yeah, right? Okay, maybe there's a nephew Drake and a niece Drake.
Well, the good news is there's the city's blessing. The bad news is there's just nothing Roguelink can do here.
And with that will be the concede button.
Yeah, I would have liked to see if that matchup really went off. I feel like we never got to see the true power of those two decks going at each other.
Yeah, it was a lot of muted things, but Uncle Drake coming out on top in the end with niece and nephew Drake swinging in for the victory. Well, they would have had it got to that point. And that, my friends, will bring us to the end of another wonderful Wednesday Night Magic. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Sky, thanks for commentating with me. Enjoy your cool new Overworld Z1 randomizer. That sounds like a lot of fun. We'll be back here next week, and we'll be talking about all the cool new things happening with the pro scene in Magic in both paper and arena both. And stay tuned. We got more Magic coming to you sooner than later. And get in that Discord, follow the Team Instant Speed Twitter, follow the Speed Gaming Twitter. You'll be glad you did. Sky, any last words?
Nope, just keep trying to grind through Standard and don't be afraid to experiment in this format. There's certainly a lot up for grabs right now.
There really is. It's a wide open format, as we saw tonight. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and we will see you back here next week with cool, fun, talky times. Be good to each other. No. Be excellent to each other.
Take care and thank you.